What's up guys, Deceiver here, and today I've got a tier list for you. It's going to be the best combat systems in MMOs, and it's going to be in tier list format. I was going to do like a top 5 and kind of show some gameplay and explain it, but I can explain the combat system here. So I've already separated all the MMOs that I have never touched. Some of these MMOs that I am going to rank, I've only played a little bit, but I have played them enough to know what the combat system kind of is. If you guys have differing opinions, you can always leave it in the comment section below. That's fine. And before we get started, I just want to say I know that I have made videos saying that I'm coming back, but I'm finally just coming back, and I'm just going to do it instead of making another video telling you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to tell you in this one, I am going to be making videos on various MMOs and updates on MMOs and various other games that I might try out over the course of the next 6 months or so as they come out. So I'm going to be playing mostly Guild Wars 2 and Lost Ark, a little bit of New World. I'll have a video coming out about New World pretty soon and why I'm not playing it a whole lot right now. Maybe some Black Desert videos, but I'm not really sure if I'm going to play it that much. And, you know, some other games that come out that I might want to try out. I'm just going to have a bunch of random content for the most part and just do what I want to do. Probably make some tier list videos. If you guys like tier lists, leave a like on the video, and let's get started. So let's go ahead and rank the GOAT. And well, I wouldn't say it's the greatest game of all time. It is probably one of the most popular MMOs of all time, World of Warcraft, of course. And the combat system in it is tab targeting, and there's nothing really special about it because back in this day and age, that was the kind of combat system that was around. Nothing too crazy or anything. There's not, as far as I know, they haven't updated it to have any like action combat features. I haven't played since, I believe, Legion was the last expansion I played WoW. And from what I've heard, the game has just gone downhill. Popularity's kind of gone downhill. The combat's fine, so I'm going to put it in the good section. I kind of just sat it there just as a placeholder, but yeah, I think that's actually where I'm going to put it. Next, we've got Star Wars: The Old Republic. I'm assuming that's what this icon is. If it's not, then that's what I'm using it for. Another tab target game. However, I did like the different uses of weaponry and the different types of like classes and stuff that you could play. It made it a little more fun, but the game overall, I didn't play a huge amount. So I'm just going to put it in the same class as World of Warcraft. That's kind of where I think tab targeting non-action should be. And I think they're very similar games with just different settings. I would say obviously World of Warcraft overall is the more popular game. However, Star Wars is a very popular game and still a lot of people play it to this day, so I think it goes in this category here. If we were ranking a most popular games tier list, this would be different obviously, but we're just ranking the combat systems. Blade and Soul. Now, Blade and Soul is an interesting one because it is still tab target, but it's a lot more action based. And you got like these combos that you can do with your abilities, and the camera movements are quite different from World of Warcraft's. It's more like tab target but action camera. So I think it's more of a top tier as far as combat goes, because the combat in it actually is quite a bit of fun. Age of Wushu. I only played this for a little while, and the game overall would be like absolute garbage because I didn't think it was very good at all. I barely got out of the tutorial for the game. The combat was just kind of meh. It felt really clunky. It felt really awkward between like, I can't even really describe it. You just have to go play the game. I don't really recommend playing the game, but if you want to find out how the combat system is, then yeah, be my guest. Arcade. Now, Arcade is tab target just like World of Warcraft and the Old Republic. I feel like it is a better game overall than either of these two. Arcade, if you guys don't know, is one of my favorite games of all time, and I don't even really prefer tab targeting, but the way that they did it, they made it a lot easier to make it feel more like action-y. They don't have like the action camera available. don't believe, but they had it to where you could like snap to your targets pretty easily, and the combat felt very fluid for the most part. Also, the combo system made it a little bit better, so I'm actually going to put it here on top tier as well. I think it is probably going to be on the lower end of top tier as far as combat goes, but I think it does belong up there. Skyforge. Skyforge is interesting because they did have action combat for to an extent. It was kind of like Blade and Soul, except a little more action based. It did have like the combos and stuff as well, but it didn't feel as smooth. It was a little bit clunky. Skyforge was an okay game. I'm not really sure what happened to it, or if they stopped supporting it, or what happened, but it was kind of a fun game there for a little while. But I think it still goes in the good category. Probably the top of good, I think, as far as combat. DC Universe Online. I only played this a little bit, but the combat didn't seem super extensive. It looked like you kind of chose just a couple of skills, and it was more of like a open world superhero fighting game, kind of like the old Spider-Man games were. I think it was just kind of meh. It wasn't anything that really struck me as fantastic or anything. Neverwinter Online. Now, I haven't touched Neverwinter in quite a long time. I don't know how much of the game has changed, if anything. But the worst part about the combat is that you could not move while using your skills, if I remember correctly. So not being able to move while you're attacking is just... it feels terrible. However, it was more action-based as far as the combat goes. I remember the camera was more action-oriented. I don't know if I want to put it at the bottom of good or like the top of meh, because it is still better than these two, I think. But the fact that you can't move during combat is just, it feels kind of shit. I do want to go back and visit Neverwinter and see if anything's changed, because it's been... I don't know, maybe 7 years since I played it, 8 years. It's been a long time, so I wanted to see if anything has changed with that. Plus, I like the D&D universe, so I kind of want to explore that a little bit more, maybe. Black Desert Online, come on. Like, as far as combat goes, it's the undisputed champion of this tier list. Like, Black Desert's combat is the absolute best combat that you can get in an MMO. Action, fast-paced, the way that you use key combinations to do your skills instead of hotkeys, which you do still have hotkeys if you choose to, but Black Desert by far and away has the best combat in any MMO I've ever played. The only problem is there's a lot of other issues with Black Desert besides the combat, but for this tier list, it's an S. It's all the way at the top for sure. Rift. I didn't play a whole lot of Rift, but from what I could tell, it was basically a World of Warcraft clone. So I'm just going to put it in good along with those other tab target games and similar games to each other there. Terra. Terra, I think, actually had some pretty decent combat. I remember it was a cross between tab target and action camera and action combat. It had the combos that you can do in it and everything. So I think it's going to be like more of a top tier as far as combat goes. Vindictus. Vindictus is one I didn't spend a whole lot of time with either. The combat did feel more action-packed. It kind of felt like Skyforge and Terra mixed together, sort of. So I think I'm going to put it right here in the good tier. I don't think it's a top tier combat system, though. I'll be honest, I tried to get a refund for this game. I fucking hated it. Combat is super slow. I just hated everything about the game. It's going in garbage for me. I don't care. So, ESO. Probably one of my favorite MMOs of all time. I haven't played in quite a while just because of other issues with the game, but the combat in it is not bad. It's mostly action-based combat, and actually it's completely action-based. I think you can tab target for certain skills if you want to, or if for certain targets or something like that, but I've never really used the tab targeting in it because it's pretty much completely optional. But I think it has one of the best combat systems, probably second to Black Desert. I don't think I want to put it up there with Black Desert because I don't think any other game comes even close to Black Desert's combat system. So I'm going to put it at the very top of top tier. We'll rearrange this a little bit here in a second. Final Fantasy: A Realm Reborn, similar combat system to WoW and these other ones, tab target. Kind of slower paced as far as I could tell. I didn't get to endgame, so I don't know if that changes at all. The only reason I won't play Final Fantasy right now is because I refuse to pay a monthly subscription plus a box price. So that's another reason I won't go back to WoW or some of these other games. I'm not gonna pay for, you know, both of those things. I think that's one of the most out of date what is it, financing or whatever the fuck. One of the most out of date ways to make people pay for a game. It's just too much money to play, especially for these older games like this. Guild Wars 2. Now this is the game that I've currently been playing quite a bit. So this kind of has options. It used to be strictly tab target, but it does have action camera and more action based combat where you're not having to stand still very often to do anything. Plus it's got the weapon swapping just like ESO does. I really enjoy having weapon swaps in games because it doesn't overwhelm you with the amount of options you have based on your one weapon. So you've only got a few skills on one weapon and then a few skills on another weapon. Plus on top of that, you get to have different abilities per class per weapon. So so basically like a Mesmer in the game, Mesmer class could use a great sword and have different abilities, but the warrior using the great sword would have completely separate abilities. So the abilities aren't locked to the weapon that you choose. But yeah, Guild Wars has a pretty good combat system. I don't think it's the best. I don't think it's better than ESOs or obviously not better than Black Deserts, but I do think it's better than any of these other games. So I'm going to put it there in top tier as the second pick. Now this game right here, this is not a game that I've played and I don't know what it is, but I'm going to use this one for WildStar since it was not on this list. WildStar was a game that I wish would have went farther than it did. The game died within like a month, and after that I never really played it. I think they took the servers down after a while. But WildStar actually had some pretty decent combat. It was like a tab target, but it was action based. It had action camera and the action type of abilities that you could use. So I think it was actually pretty far up there. I think it maybe be behind Skyforge. Alright, so now that we got them all on here, let's rearrange this a little bit. I think WoW, since it was the first out of these games here, needs to be up higher. I think I'm going to bring Vindictus down here, Rift down here, Final Fantasy up a little bit. Vindictus being probably the only really action-y base combat to be in the good tier, or besides Skyforge, I guess. But I think I like the good tier like that. I liked Arcage overall more than Blade and Soul. Blade and Soul definitely over Terra. Neverwinter I like there. These two are just, yeah, I think they're good there. And Albion I fucking hated. So yeah, I kind of like this tier list where it's at here, and I think that's where I'm going to keep it. If you guys have a different idea for what the best undisputed combat game is, or if you would rearrange this in any other way, let me know in the comments. I like having discussions with you guys. Unless you say something fucking stupid, I'm going to say something fucking stupid to you back. That's just the kind of YouTuber that I am. I really don't give a shit, so... But yeah, if you like tier lists, leave a comment in the comment section, like the video, you know, give me some more views up there. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Like the video, comment, subscribe. Check me out on Twitch TV/DeceiverGame. There are some other videos for you to check out. I'll see you next time.